Welcome to Surf Dudes with Attitude. Hello, this is Pete from New York City. Zach, it's good to see you. Hello.
Hey, Pete, it's good to see you. It's me, Zach. Are you going to vote for me?
It depends how many babies you kiss on the campaign trail. That's
Hey,
right.
Give me all your babies. I'll kiss them. Don't you worry. Also, I am not above bribes.
No. And so, I appreciate your transparency. That's something we need in today's political climate. And that's all we'll say about that. But I should mention this is your this is your second great outfit I've seen you tonight. When you I don't want to blow up your spot, but when we came on, Zach was wearing a completely different outfit
entirely.
And then through a series of like a Three's Company calamity, we found out that Zach had watched the previous episode. And he's like, baby, give me 22 minutes. I'll make it all right.
I missed 2 weeks with you, and I just got lost entirely. And I couldn't count. So
you're like, we're supposed to watch Different Strokes, right? Like that's what was a sign for homework.
I know all the side episode. Yeah. Well, that outfit that I was excited to debut, I still haven't publicly. You got to see a sneak peek.
I got a sneak peek. That's right.
So yeah, it's still going to be around. Don't you worry. Pretty different mood from this right here. But I saw the scene where a character looks like this, is dressed this way. It's Jake. Spoiler alert. It's Jake Summers. And he is wearing this exact tie. And I was like, I have that exact tie, and I'm going to have to do the rest of it. Because, when it's just right, it's just right.
I genuinely thought that this would be the one episode where you were just like, I didn't have time. Obviously, I put the effort in, and you surprised me again.
Yeah.
You came on, and like a Polaroid developing, it was just like, oh, shit, this guy cleans up so nicely. You were you were party in the back, and now you're business in the front.
That's right.
And that's right. Talk about this is latest episode.
The Polaroid developed for me as well. I didn't know how today would go, and I contemplated. I was like, how many freebies do I have to just kind of half-ass this? I was like, I've been going pretty strong, but I was like, damn it, I haven't been on in a couple of weeks, and I need to make up for it. No, the people demand it.
Your presence was missed, and any week you're not here, it's that you're making footprints in the sand next to us at the empty seat at the table.
See, I'm always there. Whether I am or not.
Right in our sternum.
That's right. So this is. I know I said this before we got going, but I just wanted to compliment your shirt here. It's very spiffy, and it's a good look.
Thank you. I was worried that it was a little too Aryan youth. It doesn't give that vibe off, does it?
I hadn't thought of it until you mentioned it. It's funny because I wear a lot of black, and for work I wear a lot of black when I work as a stagehand and behind stage stuff. And just in general, I'm pretty dark. But I have some red accents, and I think that from time to time. I'm like, is this? I hope no one else is thinking that. No, I think as long as you avoid the laces, you're good. No red laces in your
hang golden. On 1 second.
All right, take those boots off there, bud.
Well, this is Surf Dudes with Attitude. If anybody's jumping in here, last week we I don't know when this is coming out, but like we got done a side project talking about ALF recently, and that was really fun. We got a lot of fun responses. We saw that the day we put it up, one of the cast members died. So I think they were waiting for us. We got a lot of good responses from that. Hopefully we didn't anger any puppeteers out there. I was really glad that Mallory came on and set the record straight on a lot of the questions that we had. So I'm
not sure fun. We didn't see like the time of death.
I think it was the exact same time, and nobody can tell me different. So
I hope he heard our episode, but I hope he heard the whole thing.
I hope so,
because if it wasn't the whole thing, then it would somehow be the cause or related in some sense. I don't want that on my conscience.
I don't either. He would haunt us, I think.
Absolutely. And it wasn't even the one we wanted to die.
We didn't even talk about him.
I know.
He played the young son. It was, tragic. He died early. We don't know from what, but we were hoping that the dad would kick it because he was kind of a dick. So
yeah.
The lines got crossed when we did our voodoo curse or sorry.
We gotta get better. Chaos magic though. You could just you play with. You roll the dice and you might get snake eyes.
We're going to get better at it. It just
I think
trial and error. Okay.
That's right. So who's on our maybe we'll try something a little nicer. You know what I mean?
I think we're doing
like
Happy Days soon. So the Fonz better watch out. You better keep it straight because we love Henry Winkler. Well, I mean, I love the Fonz. Henry Winkler was the one that came up with the idea for MacGyver. So forever indebted to that man.
Oh, that's great.
I hear he's just a dream to work with. Maybe we can get him on the episode to talk about our Happy Days side project.
Yeah.
So,
and he and Alice Cooper have never been seen in the same place at the same time.
Still suspect.
A little suspect.
All I'm saying. We're just asking questions here like Joe Rogan. So we're not saying one way or the other. We're idiots.
Exactly. Surf dudes.
Well, I mean, speaking of surf dudes, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about that. The California Dreams this past weekend got back together, and they did two reunion shows in LA at Hotel Ziggy. J. Anthony Frankie was on recently, and we did an interview. The whole thing came together very quickly, and we had to do it and put it out and edit and everything. But they seem to really like it. We're getting a lot of people like super fans. We've gotten a ton of new followers because of this crossover, and I'm really excited about that. But I had
same. So if that's you, if you're to address the new listeners potentially who now know about us, thanks for listening.
Yeah, because this after that interview, this is the first episode that we're recording talking about the show. So
yeah,
we've had, and we're doing a little. Right now, we're in a mid-season break because I'm about to go on tour. So I have a burning question, Zach, and our new listeners can maybe think about it. Do you think?
Let it rip.
Do you think the cast talked about us at all in this weekend? I don't mean to be a narcissist.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it has to have come up in physical conversation, talking about our show. What do you think?
Right. In some way, it has to have.
Yeah.
Because J. Anthony Frankie hung out with us for an hour, had a great time. We had a great time. We were sharing each other's stuff. We were trying to, plug the show they were going to play. He was plugging our show. There was good rapport. They did a lot of press for these shows. So I know there's like a lot, but I feel like what we did stood out a little bit.
Oh, I think so.
And I feel like our show stands out.
We should do the whole episode in voices like this.
I think our whole show stands out a little bit. So, they definitely.
We aren't just fanboys here. Like, we're asking the tough questions. That's right. What do you think about the Kosovo conflict in 1997?
Do you like us? Do you have a crush?
Circle yes or no. Which one of us you would date, and why is it Zach?
We looked like when we were the age you were depicting.
I don't know why we weren't asked that the entire time.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like afterwards, once we stopped recording, we were just like, "How'd that go? How do we feel about it?" It was like, yeah, he wasn't as curious about us as he should have been, but it was still nice. He talked about himself a lot.
I have all these guitars back here. He didn't ask me once what they were.
Yeah, he was talking about how cool his guitars were, and they were. But look at those guitars. I have guitars in front of me.
Yeah,
so I can see them, but you can't.
Favorite just color? So we just had to tell him what our favorite color was. He didn't initiate that either. So
yeah,
but you know what?
Well, back. It's early. It's early. In our relationship.
It's early days. That's what the British people say, right? Early days.
I think so. We still
have fanny flutters about each other. So, we don't want to rock the boat too much. I'm upset with myself. I didn't get to ask. I had so many like lightning fast questions I wanted to ask him, and I kind of cowered to doubt. One of them was, I would like, is there ever an outside shot in this entire show? Like, I had the keys to the city, and I just didn't take it, and I didn't want to. He was, we're short on time, and I was like, I don't want to crowbar this in there, but the man needs. I need to know.
Yeah,
I haven't been able to sleep a wink since because I still do not know.
I know. I planned on asking more questions as well, and I think we just got to have him back on. We just got to talk some more.
He doesn't have a choice, so
he's gonna have more shows to plug.
Let's plant drugs in his bag, so he gets stuck in America. I think that's how it works.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That's good.
So plant drugs on the guy who is now clean and has given that life up completely, and it's like,
I didn't even think about that.
Rebranding. It's like, sorry, but no, because I was gonna make a joke, and I was like, oh no, that's not even accurate. It's far the opposite.
Well, let's plant like soybeans or something. You can't go into other countries with those customs. They're not fucking around.
Now you getting it. Now we got him.
Real quick, Zach, you're caught up now because you accidentally watched 2 episodes tonight.
Yes.
The last episode, Wahaha means I love you. Do you want to quickly give me your thoughts before we jump into tonight's episode of Vote of Confidence?
Yes. I think I had some questions, and one of them was it was a question somewhat rhetorical, you could say. But who's the demographic who is watching these shows? And who is, more like on the economic ladder? Because the whole episode, he's too embarrassed to let any of his friends know that he has a job. Yeah. And it was just like, man, I don't know. I mean, I think I wasn't super poor, but I was, I needed to work as soon as I could drive, and most of my friends were that way too. Just having a job was cool. And I did have a cool job because I worked at a music store at like the only music instrument store in this small town. So it was a cool job, but all my friends who didn't have cool jobs, it was still cool that they had jobs. And it was just like, yeah, we got to do it. Like, we're going to have to, talk about it. So I was like, man, what privileged assholes. I mean, that they don't even need this job. You know what I mean? Anyway, that was a feeling.
But Tony has had a job since day one of the show.
And he has a cool job.
I mean, he has a cool job, but I think maybe it was the caliber of Jake's job where he had to say something goofy or so. But other than the greeting thing, it looked like a normal ass.
It's a record store
job.
Like that would be a cool job. Like that's a cool job for a teenager to have. It's just that he had to, welcome to wear a vest. Yeah. Where music makes us maniacs.
See, I forgot that because it's been weeks, but fresh in your mind.
See, I brought it back for you. It was fine. I think I was, this was something I was curious about for J. Anthony Frankie, but and I have some questions for other cast members that are similar about what do you do when the writers start to write your character doing things that you've really come to know this character, you've started to build this character, and now they're making you do and say things that you feel like are out of character and you wouldn't want this direction to go. And I want more for Jake and Tiffany separately and together than to just be the bickering couple that makes up at the end of each episode. This episode that we're about to do, they don't even seem to be a couple in it. Yeah,
and we're going to talk about that for sure.
And I think that's okay for the episode. It doesn't complicate things, but it also is like, wait a second, this is wholly different from what we've done the last few.
Holy.
So. Holy. It's holy.
Well,
different.
I'm bummed that I'm glad you got to watch it because it did
Thank
have a lot of
you.
music stuff to talk about. It
Mm-hmm.
had the whole recording process was band oriented, and we even
Yep.
got a song. And you were hitting me up earlier, being like, "This song is ripping another song off," but I can't think of it. Did you
Yeah.
figure out what it was,
I
or
still
is it
haven't
gonna?
figured it out.
It's gonna come to you at like 5 a.m. I don't want you to
Yeah.
set up a bonus podcast, and we'll just talk about it then. Okay.
No, I'll hear it on the radio
Mm-hmm.
when I'm listening, when I'm on my drive, when I'm on a
And
midnight
it'll
drive,
drive you
thinking about it.
insane.
And I'll be like, "Wah." Exactly. And
Okay.
I'll call you immediately.
Thank you. Speed dial.
Yeah. No, that's how you found out I had watched the wrong episode, because I played the riff and I was from my phone in the microphone, and I was like, "See, this is a song and I can't place it." And you're like, "What episode is that from?"
You know, a small part of me had hoped that you were just like, yeah, it was from another episode. I just, I wanted to watch it again, so I watched it today.
That would have been cool.
There
That
was
would have been cool.
no part of me actually believed that, but I was like, you know, a man walked on water, so other miracles have happened.
True. Facts.
Anyway, this is Surf Dudes with Attitude. You can check us out at surfdudeswithattitude.com. Or you can go to californiadreamspodcast.com to support us on Patreon. We got a couple new Patreon supporters, so thank you. Hello.
Thank you.
Very glad you came over from the fan casts of California Dreams, and you're now giving us a shot. So I had somebody hit me up on Instagram that I unknowingly had stood next to at the live show that I saw them at last year. And
They recognized you?
No, I recognized her. And she was like, I went to the NYC show. I was like, yo, I know you were standing right next to me. And you were like completely engorged with excitement from the show. So she actually flew out to the LA show as well. So
wow.
We got, and so a lot of people are coming on, and I just really appreciate it. I know we're being long-winded before we get into the episode, but you guys want to contact us at surfdudeswithattitude@gmail.com. So without further ado, President-elect Zach, would you like to usher us into the new episode, Vote of Confidence?
Let's do it.
So, Zach, thank you again for coming back. And I do apologize about the not your mistake. It's the mistake with the episode order. And for anybody listening, we are going by the IMDb order / release date of when these actually came out. So we're talking about episode 2. We are talking about episode 10 of season 2 called A Vote of Confidence. And it came out on November 13th, 1993. You could tell from the screenshot of this that somebody was going to be running for some kind of student council thing. And that my heart dropped a little because it meant we were going to be dealing with a school episode. And by and large, when we have a school episode, we have very little to do with music. Would you say that's accurate?
It seems to be the case. I have a quick question. Just seeing the date.
Mm-hmm.
Was the dream sequence episode a couple weeks ago? That would have been the Halloween episode, wouldn't it have been?
I think so. Yes.
It's the
it's the one you didn't
watch. What a one to miss. What a one to miss. You know what? That's all right. I might go back and watch it just to catch up. Cause I do like your dream sequence shows.
Yeah. Yes. And our friend James came out and helped us out on on the record store episode, but our friend Billy was here for the dream episode. He had never seen the show, never even heard of it. He's younger as well. And
I feel like most people who will be on will also not. That'll be the case, Pete, for a lot of folks.
The only thing you might have missed was, and I'll give the episode a tiny bit of credit because they leaned into how silly it was. They were not trying to make it realistic. Like there's a scene where they're in a blacksmith shop and it's the garage, but the washer and dryer are still in there. So unless they were being super lazy with everything, it just meant that they're like, look, we get it. And they depicted an outside shot. So that was the first time ever they were in some kind of town square. But like,
Whoa, history.
It was a dream, so it doesn't really count. So, but this one, we no such luck. We are inside the entire time. We're in this hurricane bomb shelter again, and we're gonna start at the school. And again, we see the plot poster that is going to tell us all we need to know about the episode. There's a school election coming up, and so far, 2 candidates are facing off. It's a hippie girl who I forget her name, and then Harvey. That's right.
PCH, it's Harvey. Rich Boy Harvey and Roxy the Radical Environmentalist.
I love their alliterative names.
Yeah, or at least that's how Tony's set them up, because the Dreams are not necessarily stoked about voting because of their options. Relatable.
Do you think they have to take off a whole day and wait in long lines that you're not allowed to be served water? Do you think that they have the same thing, or do you think they just have a little paper ballot, by the auditorium door?
I hope they need
more than 30 people in school. You
and see what it's about. I hope they have to suffer and really realize what the election process is like. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of it that's that they get to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was something seeing the hallway again, where they can only really fit a few people in there. But that Harvey, they love depicting rich people on this show. I've noticed this is like the 3rd or 4th time. And what's Harvey's deal? How old is he? Do you think? How old do you think the actor is?
How old is this actor? I mean, it's weird. Maybe he's got like a Michael J. Fox youth to him. Where he could where he could be like 42.
Okay.
Or he could be like 19, because he's looked the same. He's probably not 19.
He's 28 years old.
28
when this was filmed.
All right.
And I should mention he's in 2 episodes.
As the same Harvey.
Sort of. In one episode, he's Harvey Cramden, Kramden, and one episode is Harvey Cramdon, Cramdon. So we're gonna have to wait to season 5 to see like what mystery unravels there.
What's it gonna be?
There's not a lot to talk about in this episode, so bear with us, new listeners. So I had a question about one of the gags here. Sam sets up this perfect wind up and pitch punchline about like the hippie girl, Roxy, throws a can away and it sets off a metal detector in the trash can. I was going to look it up, but I wanted to ask you instead, since the presidents are used to answering the tough questions.
Indeed.
Does aluminum set off a metal detector?
Yes, it is. It is magnetic.
It's metal, but I don't know. Is it the right? I guess maybe you're right. I honestly
yes,
don't
it
know.
is.
You know what? You might be right, because I've seen old people on the beach with their metal detectors, and they're always kicking up cans, getting upset. So
you know what? Should I try again? Should I give a more diplomatic answer?
Yeah, that was a little too divisive, Zach.
The thing about metal detectors, I mean, we're all trying to detect something in our lives. We're trying to detect what needs movement forward in a direction that we all can agree on. We got to come together. We got to detect the lies of our opponents. And I mean, if you ask me, the buzzers are going off.
Just slow clap. Here's my baby. I love it, Zach. I got excited in this scene as well, because guess who showed up for a fucking cameo? Did you notice who it was? With his beautiful cherub-like face. No, that's Stingray. Right. Stingray was back. The Link.
Whoa, that was the Stingray?
That was the Stingray. Oh. And he's in it a lot. I got a lot of questions. about
That is
why
exciting.
Stingray, the quintessential stoner, they will say it without saying it. The guy is on drugs, but
Yes.
he's also motivated enough to join the student council. And not just that, he's like one of the heads of the student council. He's got the clipboard. He's making decisions.
It's pretty cool.
This man is layered, and we need him to get him on the podcast. He has not responded to our emails that we've genuinely
I
sent him.
hope, please, if anyone knows him, if anyone has contacts,
Jake Grace is his name. So
Jake Grace, if you're out there,
honestly, the new listeners are hyper fans of California Dreams. They should have a database or a kill sheet or whatever you want to call it about all the people that have been on the show and where they live and what their daily routines are. So I'd appreciate if you shared some of that information.
We can only do so much, you know. We are just 3, but it's growing.
There was something in the scene that I didn't think maybe you would understand, but this actually happened in school, where you would get at certain parts of the day, you would get a note in the form of a greeting card from your principal about your brother's itinerary from the airport. Did you know that? That's just something that happened to everybody in high schools, Zach.
That's kind of like when I would be like outside feeding the chickens and my brother would come out and be like, hey, the principal wants you in the office. And I'd go
in the living room.
Yeah. And Dad would be like, eggs are ready.
I don't understand why they had a messenger bring Jake a greeting card. It looked like a birthday card, and he opens it up, and it's like you need to pick up your brother from the airport. He's coming back from college, and then Jake is beside himself. He doesn't like his brother. His brother's just too goddamn successful, and he's punching a lot of stuff. All right. I'm glad him and Tiffany are not together this episode, because that's some extremely toxic, abusive behavior. Some red flags there going off.
Yeah. Don't punch things.
Multiple times in one scene. He was just showing that locker who's boss.
Yeah.
So
was it
here it is. Go for it.
Did you
do it? Do the joke.
Was it hot?
It was hot. It was Tony.
Was it a little bit hot?
Oh, there's a line later I want to get into with you that I lost my shit. But before that, we're gonna go to Sharkey's. This is the first we've heard of Jake having a brother in general. We knew he had
a dad.
I guess you're right. He would have had some kind of sperm donor situation.
Well, no, he said he's coming to visit my parents who are celebrating their anniversary.
So his parents are still together. They've been together longer than 11 months. That's what we can garner. If that's the case, both their Jake and his brother Kyle, both bastards, born out of wedlock. So you know we're extrapolating all the scavenger hunt clues here. It's odd he has such a disdain for him. We don't see this side of Jake a lot. He's usually very confident, but this just gets his goat, doesn't it?
It really does. You know, I mean, on one hand, I appreciate the depth that we're seeing in this character. That does, you know, he's a pretty erratic often.
Yeah,
he does have moments of slamming a locker, you know, of threatening people, and seeing some insecurity actually admitted is like, oh yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, but like, thanks for saying so.
Sure, he's a man after all. He's a mortal man that we've met and discussed stuff with.
Yes, we have. Yes,
so
we have.
Nice. It's your political slogan. You should write that down. That's definitely not taken.
Yes, we have. Yeah. Yes, we did.
Speaking of politics, there's somewhere in this scene, the Dreams are asked by Harvey to play a show, and I got excited. I thought we were going to see a concert, and they're like, we don't fuck with politics, man. Like, it's not our thing. It's like, how about $200, which is about $390 today. And they're all about it. They're going to play it. And then I felt real slighted that it didn't happen. But it begs the question, Zach, would you play a political show? Probably asking the wrong person today, but
You know, I think sometimes there's too much playing going on. I think we need to get serious. You know, I think there's time for playing.
yeah.
This is not the time for playing.
Not apparently not. No.
No. No, I would not. But off the record, no, I would not.
Okay.
No, not. I mean, not in this case. Not in a similar instance where Matt says, "How can we play a show? We don't even endorse you." I couldn't play a politician's event that I did not endorse in some way.
In some way, sure. What
or in general, that I wouldn't be like, yes, do it.
What do you think Harvey's campaign promises are, realistically? I don't know how far he got into it, but I remember when Zach Morris, he was on another show called Saved by the Bell. He ran for student body president, and he was saying, like, all the girls have to wear bikinis. I'm going to get a water slide for the pool. Like, just real grounded issues.
That's what Sly said later in the episode. I mean, he says the bikinis thing. Which came first?
I mean, definitely probably Saved by the Bell. That's usually the answer for most of this stuff.
No. Who did it better, though?
I don't. Harvey seems like a sociopath. I don't. He's very politically ambitious. We see later in the episode he's just blind with this desire to wield some power.
Yeah,
and,
I think he says something to that effect, that he's that money is fine, but power is better.
That's dark. It's true, though. Relatable.
Porque no los dos. I feel like he did say what his slogan or something like it was. Hold on. You want to find out?
Sure. Yeah. You're not going to watch the wrong episode, are you?
No promises. Okay, I think I'm about.
Do you know when it's supposed to happen?
I already have money. Now I want power.
Okay, let me go back.
He says it so jovial that.
Did you hear?
Yeah, he said, "I have money, now I want power."
Yeah, here it is.
Okay, I'll do it.
This is Tiffany agreeing to something.
This afternoon, when you vote, remember my motto. I already have money. Now I want power. Thank you.
There it is.
I mean, I appreciate the honesty. That's something we could use.
I love this guy.
Yeah. I would play his event. If I had no dog in the fight, I think I would. Like, if the money was right.
Would you do it? Would you play a politician's party?
In this climate, no. But in the 90s, when politics did not matter to our demographic, really, yeah. I'd probably do that. But now it's like you have to pick a side and be with it until you die, and you will lose friends in the process. So
sure,
it's a little more charged now, the way it needs to be, and I get it. There's just no way. Even the stupid California Dreams podcast, we have to talk about what's going on. I hate it.
Well, yeah.
Are you gonna dodge again? You flip flopper, you flounder, you waffler. That's what it is. You waffle.
I would never waffle. I'm more of a pancake man. But as long as we're eating breakfast together, that's really what counts.
I do call you Flapjack all the time for a reason.
Flap Zach, thank you very much.
So we're gonna jump to Jake's room, which looks suspiciously like Tiffany's room, but okay.
Yeah, I've never seen Jake's room.
This is the first time, so don't worry. Also, the first time for me. I got a lot of questions. I don't think I love it, to be honest. There's two grown-ass 40-year-old men in this room. They both have single beds. One side is adorned with football memorabilia and trophies galore, and the other side has a literal half a dirt bike, two sleeping bags on the bed. that's already made to make it look disheveled, and then there's just like motorcycle pictures up everywhere.
Yeah.
These two boys in this like looks like a house. How many people live there? Is this like Amish housing? Why are they sharing a room?
If I were to have kids, and if I were to have two kids, I think I would raise one of them rich and one of them poor. And make them share a room.
Like a social experiment?
Because that's what this looks like. You know, like I never assumed that Jake came from money. Yeah. He seems very working class, you know, middle class, but like if I were to guess, like lower middle class. And this guy, older brother Kyle, you know, is going to Harvard. So he's either brilliant or they have more money than Jake acts.
Than they're letting on, yeah.
Yeah, or that Jake might not know because they're, you know, he's the poor kid. He's the poor experiment.
He's Bob Cratchit on the side of the room.
Exactly. You know, it's funny. So I have a big brother.
Yes.
And we shared a room together until he moved out. He's 6.5 years older than I am.
Right. He
left when he was in his early 20s, like 22-ish. I was like 16, 17 when he moved out. So like this is actually relatable in that sense. And because he's older and got to things first, like you know, there is kind of a little brother complex sometimes when you're not going to be as good at most things.
Okay. Wow.
You know, and I just had to do some different things. It spoke to me. Yeah. I mean, you know, he played guitar. He was better than me for a while. And then he kind of, you know, I got into it more. I'm better than him. Did you hear that, Dad? Did you hear that?
The way you said that was so real. You're like,
I'm better than him.
I'm better
now. But it wasn't for a while. No, but he's like, yeah, there's some overlap though. And there's definitely the like the people.
What's that noise?
Like, you know, your friends are also a little more interested when your older siblings come around. I have a big sister too, and it's similar. Like they both were like the cool older siblings.
Yeah.
And like their friends were also cool. And I hung out with, like, my brother let me hang out a lot with him and his friends. And so, you know, in some ways I was pretty cool because I was the cool little brother who hung out with like the cool older kids. But I was still a little kid who was like worse at everything and not as fast and not as strong and not as talented, you know, not as appreciated.
All those football trophies. Just
exactly. And I was just like, oh, I'm like the weird theater guy, you know. Oh yeah, that's the gay one, you know. Anyway, it worked out great. My brother and I don't share that room anymore though, and I'm grateful.
Did you guys have single beds even as you were growing older? Okay. All right.
Well, we had single beds and then we had a bunk bed.
You had bunk at what age? Were you still bunking in your teens?
We were still bunking in our teens. My brother, we were bunking. We were bunking in our teens. He was bunking till he was like 21, 22.
Did you live on an army barracks like that? You guys are all handy with your hand. You couldn't build a bigger bed frame. I don't understand.
You know what's funny? My dad almost made me a bunk bed one time. And he was gonna start on a Saturday.
Okay.
And I had second thoughts and I was like, actually, I think I still like the single beds and having like separate halves of the room. I still liked that. And so I was like, you know what? No to the bunk bed. And then somebody, we inherited, or some friend was getting rid of a bunk bed. And it was one of those it was a double bed up top and then a full bed on the bottom.
Yes.
So he got the bigger one. He also got the bigger thing.
And I'm better at guitar.
He's bigger than me, but I was better than guitar. So there. Well, but I mean, he also taught me a bunch of stuff. You know, he was one of the guys who taught me guitar. He and my dad.
But now you're better. So
yeah, I graduated from both of them. they were both like, sorry, I can't teach you anything else. And I was like, say that again. Say that again. Say it again.
I did really like in this episode how Kyle he's not an asshole. Like, I fully assumed when I read the plot synopsis here that like he was going to be some preppy dick and him and Jake weren't going to get along. But like Jake's just being like, I was going to say a sniveling bitch, but he's really just being, he's
what are you
just
gonna
kind
say
of,
now?
but I'm going to say now that you've given me some context, he's just being the little brother in the situation. So like it is
Who's
relatable.
the diplomat now?
I know, right? Well, I'm learning. I'm a person too. And like my brother was older, but we were all kind of Irish triplets. We were all only like a year and a half, maybe 2 years apart each. So we're very close in age. So all of our friends kind of commingled and stuff. But I do know that feeling of like, I was, I understood what it was like. Everybody wanted to hang out with the older brother kind of thing. And I was like, come on, I'm cool, right? But we just became so similar and we looked so much alike that people just assumed we were twins anyway.
Yeah.
There was one friend real quick that he came to our house every day. Like he was Stingray, basically. He was one of the biggest stoners that we knew. And he came over to our house every day to hang out. We hung out in the garage. We hung out in the patio, in the porch, whatever, went skating, all the time. And then one time we're just sitting in the garage and he's like, why is Luke mowing your lawn? And I was like, because it's his turn. And he's like, well, does he just come over and mow your lawn? I was like, did you not know for the last 2 years that we're brothers?
What?
So I think that has more to say about our friend Jared than it does for our Luke and I's relationship.
Oh my God, Jared, get it together, bud. That's incredible.
So there's a dirt bike in the room.
Very cool.
Sure, I get it, but is that the first floor, or are you carrying that up the stairs?
Yeah.
And, so we find out Kyle is in college, as we said. I don't know how much he looks way older than Jake. This guy starred in Days of Our Lives, so he definitely has this like soap opera face.
Wow.
But he just looks way older than he's purporting to be. It sounds like he's 22 at the most if he's a senior, but he elevates himself bigger than that. Maybe it's just that preppy Harvard energy.
He's tall.
Tall drink of water.
Shoulders back.
And I don't know if this was maybe his brother's influence. I'm probably overthinking it, but Jake's shirt for this entire episode, even when he's in his cool phase, is tucked in.
Ooh, good eye.
I've never tucked in my shirt. It's always been like me against the man. Probably like refused to do it. I've only had to do it like when I've worn suspenders. I think one of the couple of the shows I played for you, I have it was important to get gussied up, but normally
we put it on the contract.
Firmly untucked. That's true. I crossed out in the rider where it says I will not tuck in my shirts. I don't even like getting my hotel bed tucked in because I'm so against it.
Right. It cramps the toes. I didn't notice that. Well, I noticed he had it tucked in during the bedroom scene. Because he takes off his jacket and it's apparent because he doesn't do that very often. He's usually like a sloppy mess. And we love to see that.
All those layers get called out when we say this, but we're in it now, baby. But it's at this point that he decides he's going to run for student body president, surely to impress his brother. Yeah. And then we go to Sharkey's. I don't know if this is the same day, but they have printed all of this shit. I don't know if it's overnight, but they took the money that was given to Sly to play, and now they're going to bail on the performance, and they used all that money to get all this material print. They had the cool little hats, but then they also got some nice ass fucking poster boards done too.
Pretty nice.
I didn't look up how much that was going to cost, but I'm going to say the amount of stuff that actually looks like an accurate amount. So.
You think they spent the entire $200 on it?
I think they did too. And because of that, thanks for the alley-oop there, Scottie Pippen. Because of that, now Tiffany has to go on a date with Harvey. Right? Because he's... This is the dowry they're going to pay for this transgression. Basically, they're going to barter flesh for this theft of services. And I guess she says yes. So this goes to your original point that you were saying earlier. Are Jake and Tiffany together in this episode?
They've worked some things out.
Okay.
If they are, they've worked some things out. You know, maybe
whether you're answering or you're doing a politician.
The lines get blurred, my friend.
I know. It's changed you.
I know. I comb my hair and this is what happens.
So are you saying that they have a progressive open relationship, or that this episode is out of order, or the writers just didn't give a shit?
I mean, I think openness is an important part of any relationship. Whatever that means to you.
You bested me again with your cunning linguistic skills.
I would like to think that they're open, you know.
Yes. Yes, I mean, Zach and Kelly did this constantly in Saved by the Bell, where like when the plot called for it, they were together. When it didn't call for it, we're just supposed to pretend it didn't happen. So like that makes it less serialized, makes it more of a story of the week kind of thing, and so anybody could jump in. And this show is for children, and children are by and large stupid. So
whoa, hot take. And relationships come and go.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. And especially one like Jake and Tiffany's, where it's tumultuous and strained at best. I think would be the word, right?
I would use a similar word.
So I guess we go back. There's so many set changes in this episode, so try to keep up.
It's pretty astounding.
Our vision impaired listeners, I'm trying my best. We go back to Jake's room. We finally see Jake in the outfit and the exact same tie. I think that if you are on Patreon right now, you are seeing Zach in. President-elect Summers for president over here. We see this. Jake, the entire episode and pretty much every episode he's been in, he takes so many shots at Sly. All the time. And we're not even getting into the nitty gritty about all the stuff Sly says in this episode because it would be exhausting. But why is Jake letting Sly on his bed? That seems like a missed opportunity or joke there. There's no way that he would let Winkle on his bed, right?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't let Winkle on my bed. I mean, he's laying on his bed like feet.
That's what I'm saying.
Shoes on the bed. Shoes where the face goes on the bed.
Yes.
And he's just like cuddling with one of his pillows. Yeah, genitals still where the genitals tend to lay.
For the most part, on average, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Jake is not happy about this. His brother comes in and says something like, "You should just be yourself," and then Jake is like, "Hey, fuck you, man." Like, I'm not gonna take that incredibly sound advice. Get out of here.
Like, you don't. Oh man, a funny line that actually did make me laugh. Is when this moment when Kyle, his brother, suggests being honest, and Sly is like, "Yeah, honesty. Now there's a gimmick."
How do we do that? That was
pretty good. It was pretty good. It got me. I did. I laughed aloud.
Yes, there was only one line that made me laugh in this episode, and it definitely was not intentional. It's coming up.
Okay, good.
Before that, we're gonna go to the auditorium. I guess this is the first auditorium we've seen, so some
more
fanfare,
set,
if you will, for like a new designed set. Good for them. And I gotta say, after listening to everybody's speech, I want to vote for the hippie girl, even though she killed a spider. Like, really dumb gag, but like, she cares about it the most because like, what happens later? Jake quits right away, and Harvey's a fucking psychopath. So like,
I love how long, like for the 90s and 2000s, and probably started with the 80s. I don't know when it started. This idea of this like like that caring for the environment was like the
Such a
most
punchline.
laughable
Yeah.
thing to be. And
I'll
that's
tell you
what she is. Like, she's just, you know.
It was Gen X, it was the hippie movement, like the fucking boomers, when they grew up and they became all fiscally responsible and conservative. They're like, well, that's dumb. Anybody still caring about the environment the way we did? We fixed everything. Reaganomics is great. Trickle down. That's why. And it was they made fun of vegetarianism. They made fun of mental health. They made fun of recycling. You know, it's still pervasive today, where like people are still upset with Greta Thunberg, you know, saying like, hey, we're fucking the planet up, you know. So it's like never gone away, but it was definitely more lighthearted with the jokes, you know. Now it is,
I guess,
more vitriolic.
It doesn't seem to have gone away for conservatives and folks who disagree, but it seems to have lessened in like general media.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Like I don't watch a lot of like television shows.
Mm-hmm.
I watch more streaming shows, and that's maybe a different demographic, but I don't see like this was like every movie, every show had this character as a punchline in some way. Like, I don't know how recently you've seen Batman and Robin with George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman. Yes.
Within
the last 2 years, I've seen it,
great.
and it is so difficult to get through. But you're right. If you're talking about Poison Ivy,
I love it. But the whole movie is like, you watch it now, and not everyone will feel this way, but I imagine you did too. Was like, oh, Bruce Wayne is the clear villain in this. Like, there have been questionable ethics along the lines of DC villains, but with this one is like, oh yeah, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger that just wants to save his wife, and he's stealing like crystals to do so, like diamonds to do so. Like, fuck off. That's nothing. Steal diamonds for a life. Come on. And then Uma Thurman's just like, your industry is destroying the planet, and that's bad. And he's like, whoa, what an idiot. Bruce Wayne is often the villain, and Batman is often the villain. But
he's a billionaire. Fuck billionaires.
Yeah.
Fuck
but this
Bradley,
was like
billionaires.
The movie at most. Anyway, I cite that as an example.
Mm-hmm. That's your source. Batman and Robin, baby.
Batman and Robin. Bat nipples. It's great.
Mm-hmm. So this is the only musical part of this episode is in this scene. J. Anthony Frankie actually talked about this when we asked him, like, you know, did you learn songs for this? And the only one apparently that he learned and actually had to play in full was a song called Leather and Loose. I started to tab out I started to write a chord chart for it, and I was like, it's literally just D to G to E, and there's the C in there. Like, it's very simple.
Yeah,
he sings it well. There's nothing to it. But it gets the crowd pumped. You know, I mean, these people are politically engaged.
I mean, wow, because they didn't know they were gonna like Jake. Oh, we skipped the part where Jake decides he's running and then goes into Sharkey's, and like everyone is just running away from him because he's been a bully.
Yes,
and that too, like, kind of goes back and forth in this series of like when everyone is terrified of Jake and when he's just like a regular kind of like tough guy. Basically, when he's Tiffany's boyfriend, he's like, you know, the bad boy boyfriend, and then when he's not, he's like everyone's murderer.
But he's had multiple public displays of like vulnerability, whether it being on stage or being with Tiffany and stuff. You think they would be like, oh, all right, this guy's not so bad. He's in that band, California Dreams. Like, how he can't be a real murderer, right? He can't have killed the entire Garrison family, right? That can't just be a rumor, right?
Still haven't seen them in a while. Right.
So did you like the song at all, Zach? Would he get your vote?
I don't like musicians that much.
What a podcast for you to be on. You don't want somebody that doesn't take the job seriously. You know.
I feel like in high school I probably would have.
I think so, man. He was the cool
guy. Could have gone either way, but he was the cool guy. Of the three in high school, yes. He would have been the one I voted for sure. Right. It is,
that's independent Green Party. That's what Jake would. Oh no, I guess the hippie girl would be
the Green Party was the Green Party. Yeah, what is Jake's a libertarian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no, he's the Tea Party.
Oh, bummer.
So it's very obvious he's going to. So he wins, right? I think they go to Sharkey's very quickly, and he wins, and now he's like, "What the shit do I do?" I didn't even have any notes for that scene. I don't know if you.
You know what? I would actually say because he's there at the council, and he's like, "Well, what do you guys want changed? What do you want?" Mm-hmm. I don't think it'd be a libertarian. I think it'd run as like I think it'd be pretty leftist, to be honest. I think it'd be like Democrat. Maybe this is wishful thinking. It'd be like Democratic anarcho, fucking, that's just like, hey, we all gotta. Cause he's working class, so he's like, power to the people. We all should have a vote. Mm-hmm. We all should have a say. I gotta work on my bike, and we're all doing our best. Leading
socialist is what you're saying.
I think he's a socialist.
Okay, I mean, you already called him a closeted homosexual. Now a socialist.
Yeah.
Everybody, Zach, will you take off your mask and show everybody that you're actually Joseph McCarthy? That joke would have killed in 1967. I don't know if you noticed who was on the student council, other than Stingray, of course. There's a member there he's a very famous 90s actor from another kids TV show.
Yeah.
Do you know who
no.
Okay. So the bigger
was it Michael J. Fox?
Yes. Teen Wolf 3.
How did I not notice?
2 Teen, 2 Wolf. No, we have
I watched it pretty quickly.
We have Donkey Lips from Salute Your Shorts is in that scene.
I don't know
that show.
Do
you know that show? Okay.
I don't know Donkey Lips.
There's a millennial and Gen X people yelling at you from their cyber trucks. Zach.
I'm sorry.
It was a Nickelodeon show about a summer camp, and Donkey Lips was in there. He played kind of the rotund friend and stuff, but it was very. You should look up some clips. Yeah, he's the one that came up and said something. I didn't write it down, but like he did.
I remember what he said.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you want me to say?
I would love to. Yeah.
Sly bursts in and he's like, "Well, I'm the one who got you into school. I got you as a president, so now I get to make some rules too. Okay. Like every Friday is Bikini Day." Oh, and then he gets up and like, "I don't think I can wear a bikini."
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. I like it.
I'm gonna use that as a segue.
What do you think Jake's political party is? Because you've been pretty quiet about this.
I mean, I kind of actually thought he was a libertarian, where he was just like, because he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to do any of this. This whole thing was a sham to impress his brother. So he was basically like, whatever. Drugs are legal. No big government. You just do what you want to do, kind of thing. Just don't bother me about it. Don't be a jerk to people, kind of thing. I think he would take the less approach, and that's at least what libertarianism sort of preached at one point.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think he doesn't know enough about the world yet.
I mean, that's definitely true.
He's grown up in a certain way, and
he's grown up in he never even had his own bedroom. What can he really know about the world?
Right.
So
yeah, and he
knows how to share, I guess.
Exactly. He's always talking about his bootstraps.
Him and his brother. So we go to Sharky's, and I guess the B plot still is going on where Tiff has to go on a date, but Tony, Matt, and Sam are chaperoning the date, and they do pinky swear, but they don't even pinky swear properly. Did you notice that? You're supposed to put your pinky out, and then you're supposed to hook them together. That's at least where I came from. That's how
you're supposed to hook them together. That's where it seals the promise.
And just to cap this off, she's on a date with Harvey, and Harvey's actually not as much of a monster as she thinks, so she kind of tells them to fuck off, and they won't.
Because they pinky poked.
Yes, and until
they
waved
find out their pinkies.
Until they find out that Jake has quit, and then Harvey gets back up into power. But I had a question. Tony says a joke in this scene that he's like riffing, I guess, and he's making fun of whatever Harvey's saying. And the joke he says, I don't remember the setup, but he's like, now it's time now it's time for you to change that underwear. Did you remember this scene?
Yeah, what is that? Because he was a baby or because he smells bad?
It has to be like a smelling bad thing, but like Harvey did not give off the bad smell. He's like a rich kid. He's well pampered, literally.
Yeah.
He's pampered.
Oh, he's pampered. Pampers doesn't leak.
That's true. Your butt is it's not moist. It doesn't have diaper rash. Like it's not soiled.
Fully
I don't
sealed.
understand who is and like the way that they like yuck it up at this joke.
Yeah, like it kills. It's like they all agree. He said it. We were all thinking it, but he said it, Tony.
If he sat down on a whoopee cushion or something, at least there would be some semblance of like, oh, okay, you pooped your drawers, but that they didn't even set that up.
Do you think we're going to get a whoopee cushy
whoopee cushy
gag in this show?
Yes.
Do you think we're going
we have to get a fart noise? We have to. I'm very surprised we haven't got one yet, but
yeah. Do you think it's a fart show? After all these years, they haven't yet. It is a little alarming.
I don't think this is a fart show. And I don't think Saved by the Bell was a fart show either, unfortunately.
Which is crazy.
I think they thought they were higher brow than they were. And it's the one thing I would change if I had a time machine. That's it.
I am going to say California Dream's not a fart show, but is a burp show.
It's a burp show. That's a really astute observation. Yeah. I could definitely see a burp coming, but like fart
even if we never get it, it's right there. There'd be no shock if a character burped.
It's probably happened already, and it hasn't even registered. Like they have to be sitting at a table where Sly gets invited to dinner and he burps or something. I guarantee this has already happened. And some of our newer eagle-eared fans can go back and tell us if that's happened. But you're right. A fart thing, that's toilet humor. And for some reason, if it's above the larynx, it's okay. If it is below, it is not cool. It's standards and practices says no way. Does that
mean, Zach, yeah, and I think is that you can burp at the dinner table and it's rude. If you fart at the dinner table, you should do that in a different room.
Sure.
These are different things. And I think there's a third category of shows.
A queef show.
I think, now there's a fourth category of shows. I was thinking in the other direction.
Okay.
And that's even lighter, and I think it's a sneeze show. Because people love someone with a cold who is
common
sneezing.
Denominator, definitely. Every time somebody has a cold, they're constantly, yes.
Yeah. Like Seinfeld, sneeze show. Not a burp show or a fart show, but they'll talk about burps and farts, but you'll never hear it happen. But it's a sneeze show for sure. California Dreams, sneeze show, and a burp show, not a fart show.
This needs to be some kind of graphic, like a USA Today colored graphic for there has to be some kind of Venn diagram about like what shows are fart shows and what shows are poop shows.
Yeah. I want to
burp shows. Does that make this podcast? This podcast is officially turned into a fart podcast because of this conversation. Do you realize that?
Well, we
We've
haven't
crossed
done it
the
yet.
chasm.
See, I think we're in there.
But we
Like
talked about
Seinfeld
it.
would talk about it. Seinfeld would talk about it, but they would not. You wouldn't hear it. I could be wrong, but even if there's farting in Seinfeld or burping, I'm going to say no. There isn't. It's they're sneezing for sure, and they've talked about it. Of like.
Farting is poop.
He was a little bit
pooping
gassy. We're going to talk about it just like we're doing right now. But the minute one of us like really rips it, then we're a fart show.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, you do the editing.
Yeah.
This is so I don't know how much you've kept in, but this has got to be a burp show because, we've definitely burped when talking.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I burped through like 3 sentences just a moment ago.
Yeah,
and I hoped it was subtle, but
the amount of seltzer I'm drinking recently,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. But I'm saying
this ain't a belch show, but this is
yes,
a burp show.
Like we
And a
cycle
belch
our
show
burps.
is animated. Belch
So,
shows are fart shows are always also belch
on one
shows.
side it's C-SPAN, on the other side it's Ren and Stimpy, and
Yes.
we're somewhere in the middle. So fart and poop are same category kind of thing because
Yeah, I think
it's quite the
I think-
platform for you.
I
It's
think
just really honest and nice to hear for a change of a political constituent and
Yeah.
candidate such as yourself talking about this openly.
I think there's got to be a tier. It's like it's a tier of like you can talk about you can talk about farts.
I love
Like there's 3 tiers. You can talk about farts.
President Clinton.
You can talk about farts. You could, and
Wait,
you can
it's
talk.
93. This
but
is
you can
Clinton era. There it is.
talk about farts. You can't talk about poop yet. Then
Right.
you can talk about poop and you can hear farts. And then you can hear farts and you can see poop. That's a next level.
Right. Farts. I can't imagine a fart joke in California Dreams, but I can imagine something where like somebody eats something doesn't agree with them and they're constantly running to the bathroom. So that's fart / poop implied narrative. And that would push it into the newer tax bracket, if you will, of being a fart show.
Yes, it would. It would toe the line a little bit.
These new people that are listening to the show for the first time, like, you're welcome. It took us this many episodes to figure this out. I really was like contemplating not even bringing up Tony's joke. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'm glad I did.
I'm glad you did. What would we have done with the last 20 minutes?
So Jake quits. Harvey's all about it. He says he got the second most votes, so he will be president. And then I guess
his good boy attitude is out the window because now he's greedy with power again. And Tiffany's like, oh man.
We're not going to see him again until season 5, apparently. And we don't even know if it's the same character.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. So we go back to Jake's room for one final time. I did notice there's like I was trying to see what month it was on the calendar so I could do some sleuthing, but I couldn't. But I did see there was a golf poster on his brother's side just to show how preppy he was, which I thought was a great job, set decorator.
Yeah.
Anyway, the big thing that actually made me laugh was right at the end. And Kyle says to, Jake confides that, hey, I only did this to impress you. And Kyle's like, you don't need to impress me. Like, I'm your brother. And then
you already impressed me because you're like, you don't give a shit. And I do. Like, I'm following the rules and I'm so good and successful because I'm trying to be a certain thing. And you just do your own thing regardless of what other people think. And I admire that.
That was pretty astute. I like that.
That was cool.
But I love this line where Jake says, are you ready?
Yeah.
How can I impress you if I can't top you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then a fart sound. So we never see Jake's mother again.
Jake's stepbrother.
Wait, that's a stepbrother?
No, I'm just making a stepbrother joke because
Oh.
of the topping.
How'd you get stuck in that washing machine washing your preppy clothes?
Oh no.
It made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Because you are so sure that Jake is closeted and in a secret relationship with Matt after murdering the whole family.
Yeah,
So,
I think he is. I still see that's a question that I didn't ask Jay, that I didn't have time to. You know, we had to go. We had to wrap things up. But I wanted to talk about that and be like,
I don't think he would have confirmed or denied. You know, I think
I don't think he would have
let the
confirmed
mystery go. So
or denied. I mean, we know that the actor is at the very least an ally. He posts. He's pretty open about that on his socials. So I don't think he'd be shocked or turned off by the question.
No.
I don't think he would have confirmed or denied.
But I mean that remark definitely means he is the top in that scenario. So
or
he's
not, but he wishes he were, because he can't top him.
His brother, good looking guy. I get it.
Yeah,
the frustration.
He's like, it's tough on the bottom sometimes.
It is
tough rap.
So this dime store Jeff from Saved by the Bell we never see again, and that's the end of the episode. They make up, and I guess he goes back to college and stays in Harvard forever. So that's vote of confidence. And we did it. We actually got to hear J. Anthony Frankie sing an actual song. The guy can carry a tune. He does have some pipes, and I wish there was more of that.
Is this also the first time? I don't know the one episode I missed. I'm not sure. Is this the first time that he has sung? Period.
Yes. Well,
not even.
Yeah, he does background vocals, but this is the first time he was leading a song.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen him do backup vocals.
Okay, you might have.
He usually doesn't even have a mic in front of him.
But he sings into Matt's mic, and they kiss sometimes.
That's right. The camera pans over to Justin Timberlake to see his reaction, so you don't actually see the. Sorry, I'm still sore about that Madonna kissed Britney and Christina Aguilera, and we only see on TV that Britney gets kissed because it pans over to Justin Timberlake to see his reaction. She's like, bitch, he's not even performing. Anyway, that's how I feel about this, and I know that because.
So you got him back, though.
And Madonna.
You planted alcohol in his car and got him arrested. So,
thank goodness
your long-term plan worked out.
Fuck that guy.
Do you want to guess the plot of the next episode, Zach?
Oh yes, I do.
Okay, it is called. Are you ready? The Year of the Woo.
I bet it's going to be about Samantha Woo.
Okay.
I bet it's going to be her year. Is it going to be her birthday, or is it? Oh. We got a nod.
I gave no indication.
Nod. You did a head tilt.
It could have been you sure about that, buddy?
It could have been like that. It could have been now think again.
Yep.
Is it the Chinese New Year? And she's celebrating it. And they're all going to try to celebrate too.
Okay.
But they're going to keep making Godzilla jokes instead.
Probably. I mean, that's a safe bet for every episode with Samantha. So,
yep.
I would say you're pretty close.
Sly may or may not come in with a katana at some point.
Also could happen in any episode.
Exactly.
I'm gonna give you partial credit on that. I'm gonna say solid 70%. The actual summary is Samantha has to decide whether to spend the money that her parents gave her on a trip back to Hong Kong to spend the Chinese New Year with her family, or on a much needed van repair for the band's van. She hopes she can do both, but thanks to a crooked mechanic, she winds up with neither. So just the picture here of the crooked mechanic looks exactly like the shop teacher from the one episode that we saw them in school. So
dang, it's their teacher and he's crooked.
I mean, we're gonna have to see, but not the worst thing a teacher could do to a student, but we're gonna find out on the next episode of California Dreams. There's no awards to give out this episode. It was rather silly, not really band heavy, but I think we learned a lot about the gang and ourselves and the delineation between farts and poops.
I think we did. We really
belches,
we came a long way.
And sneezes.
That's right. On the bookends.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with a sneeze and ends with a queef.
I don't know about anybody else listening, but Zach, you have my vote. This coming election cycle. I really appreciate you dressing up and coming out for another episode of Surf Dudes with Attitude. This has been really fun. If anybody wants to contact us and tell us who you're voting for on this election.
And donate to our platform. We could really use your help. This is that's what it takes. It takes a little bit of everybody.
Viewers like you.
I mean, everybody, $1, $5, $10, anything, it all adds up and it all matters.
Just tithe to us once a month at California Dreams Podcast. You can find all of our Patreon stuff, exclusive video, uncut feed. It's really fun. And hit us up at surfdudeswithattitude@gmail.com. And for everything else, it's surfdudeswithattitude.com. And we'll be back next week with the Year of the Woo. And I had a lot of fun, Zach. Thank you for everything. You look great. Thanks.
I did too. Thank you.
2 episodes tonight. I really appreciate
2 episodes.
Your dedication to the cause. And until next time, everybody drive carefully. This is Pete from New York City.
This is Zach. Thank you for your vote in advance. I'll do everything I can for you.
Fart horn.
Because we're still not willing to make the sound. We're just gonna talk about it. Yeah.
This has been a Waning Moon production.